Thank you for coming tonight for what essentially is a pep rally for the launch of what we're calling the Veterans Restorative Justice Act. Most experts today across America that work in this field are convinced that this generation of veterans is going to have the highest rates of post-traumatic stress of any generation. In Vietnam and other prior wars, we had a draft, and we drafted a lot more people and spread the burden of fighting out over many more shoulders. But today, we're fighting these wars with the smallest military force per capita we've had in peace or wartime since before World War I. And the only way that we're able to sustain these wars is by recycling the same troops back into combat over and over and over in a way we have never done in our history. The military's own studies today not only confirm the reality of PTSD as a battlefield injury, but its own studies confirm that the rates of combat trauma climb precipitously with each additional combat deployment. Many of the veterans in question suffer what Ryan and I in our office have come to call Superman syndrome. This is the byproduct of the training and conditioning that these folks went through to become warriors that makes them think to themselves that they should be able to handle anything on their own, and that coming home and asking for help is a sign of weakness. How does combat trauma lead to criminal behavior? They're coming home, not getting diagnosed, not getting properly treated. They're self-medicating with alcohol or drugs and falling into self-destructive, reckless, and unfortunately sometimes violent behaviors. Violent behaviors against the very communities that they risk their lives to protect. What kind of legal benefit are we affording to the veterans who agree to sign up and be held accountable and go get the help that they need and are so reluctant to go and get? The answer in the statute is we're going to give them a framework that if they do what's expected of them, they can earn the opportunity to keep a clean record. I'm now going to introduce yet another veteran with a powerful story to tell. This is Marko Milosevic. After 13 years and 12 combat deployments, Marko found himself medically discharged. As he said, the Army told him he was physically and mentally broken and they no longer needed his services. He ultimately migrated back to Minnesota with his wife and child and was trying to make a new life for himself in Bemidji, Minnesota. And one day, in the middle of a drunken argument with his wife, things escalated and he committed a felony domestic assault. And so what started was a year-long process of educating the prosecutor, the judge, and Marko, and getting him into the treatment he needed to do and sort of doing this in a holistic way. But what ended up happening was essentially what this bill provides for. He had a path to redemption that I think he'll tell you in a second made all the difference in the world for him.
Before I get started, I would really want to thank my wife, Samantha, and my son, Bubba, as he likes to be called, for being here. You have been a constant for me, and I know it's been a crazy journey, but here we are still, and so thank you for being here. Thank you. Since going through this process, I've been able to do a 180 with my life. It started off with me going to the VA and swallowing a lot of my pride, kind of that Superman syndrome that Brock talked about, and then really accepting that, hey, you know what? I am broken. There is something that's wrong with me that I need to deal with, and I do have some unresolved combat trauma. And as I dealt with that, the court started to take notice, and ultimately they decided to give me a second chance. And because of the second chance I've gotten, I've been able to attend college on the GI Bill. I currently have a 4.0 GPA, still, cross your fingers. Thank you. My wife and I have gone on to get a lot of help, a lot of counseling, and we're still going strong today. I've taken every opportunity I have, and I've been able to run with it. And if you give other veterans the chance to do the same thing, I guarantee they're going to do it. So thanks for this opportunity. Thanks for all you've done for me. And it's a privilege to be here speaking with you all today. Thank you.
We don't mind sending these guys over, like Marko over, back and forth until they break, and they will. And now what do we as a society do? Nothing? Well, we did that. I think we need to do a little more than that. We broke them, we fix them.
We came up with, I believe, an incredibly well-wordsmithed bill that provides wonderful relief to those who deserve it, and that's our vets.
I think ultimately if we can get our vets the treatment they need, if we can get them the help that they need with the support they need, and frankly dangle a very big carrot in front of them, they can get squared away. And if these highly trained, lethal people are no longer chemically addicted and angry, then not only are their victims safer, but we're all safer.
You have put together something that is balanced, that is effective, that draws on what works from both here in Minnesota and from across the country. We talk a lot about the justice system providing second chances to people who have earned it. Well, who's earned it more than veterans? People that have already given so much for our country and for our lives and for our freedom that I personally am so grateful for every single day. They've already earned it, and it's time for us to give them that pathway. And to have the governor here and basically endorse it already, I mean, the path to victory is clear.
I want to make it very clear, we stand 100% with you. The governor's office is here to make sure this gets done. Minnesotans are going to be incredibly grateful for the work that you do.